Now I have a 2.5-inch wide angle sash brush. You can see that it's got a subtle little angle in there that's going to make it really nice to cut in clean lines and to work into corners. We are featuring the handy Pail here, which has liners. You can see how nice it fits on my hand. It's got an adjustable handle, so it'll fit all kinds of different size hands. Probably not Andre the Giant, but most normal people will be able to fit. What I like about it is the liners. We're able to use the same pail and change and work with multiple colors in the same day without having to keep cleaning out the pail. Also has the magnet here, so we have the stainless steel part of this brush. Brush holds right on the magnet, and then it keeps the brush from dropping and falling into our paint there. You can also cut from the paint can, and we'll illustrate that for you too. There's some helpful tools between pot hooks and thumb tools that allow you to be able to do that. But these are just incredible. And all I'm doing is I'm just gonna dip a little bit. For this type of interior painting, just dip it. You don't wanna overload. You can tap your brush, wipe a little bit. Some people like to wipe it up here. Others will have a little technique where they'll just kind of, tap it like that. You don't want it sopping and dripping off. There's plenty of paint on there. When we're cutting, we don't want to take this fully loaded heavy brush and take it right to the ceiling. You want to offload down here. Dry this brush out a little bit, put some down here. Now, this is where we're going to really take advantage of this angle sash, and we're going to pop it in the corner like that. See how I'm kind of fanning that angle in here, and we'll get a closer look of the way that I'm holding this in just a minute. But now that I'm right on top of this, I'm able to kind of glide this right along the ceiling and cut this through. Now I'll drop down and brush that out. We don't want to leave heavy edges down here. We want to come down probably a few inches, and then we're gonna, when we get the roller, we're gonna roll as tight to the ceiling as we possibly can. And we're gonna go through. See how I'm holding this brush? You might get your hands dirty, okay, as a painter. You don't want to be down here. Good luck trying to do that. I mean, you probably can, but you really, when you're up high on the stainless steel, you got just incredible control of this brush. And if you're somebody that doesn't want to get a lot of the paint on your hands, that's where gloves would be a great solution for you. So when you're putting the brush up here, we also don't want to be like this. We don't want to be like this, trying to cut like this. We don't want to try to be like this and cutting it. You can't see what you got to play the angles. See how I'm angling? It's about a 45-degree angle, and I'm letting the tip lead the way. I'm going to pull it back down here, and now I'm going to drag this through. And then I'll drop down a little bit lower so I'm away from the wall, and then I'll pull some of this paint back. Now I can flatten it out because I'm not cutting in. You don't want to overwork it and make it too transparent. Now I'm in a situation where I'm on a ladder. I got long arms, so I'm gonna actually come out here. I'm gonna come this way now. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Now, again, I'm playing the angle here. Now we got pretty good room for error with our cut lines because we're talking about a flat white ceiling and a pretty light cream color. If I was working with a dark blue, there'd be a little bit more scrutiny on the cut line because you're going from such a bold color to a stark contrast. So now I want to optimize and take advantage of my ladder move here. So we've cut that. I'm just going to drop down now, and I'm going to cut in along the top of this line. This cut lines, there's not a lot of scrutiny here, right? Nobody's going to get up on a ladder and obsess over what that cut line looks like. When you're down on the ground, you can't quite see it. So I don't even mind if I'm crashing into the top of this white casing a little bit. That's not a big deal. I'm pulling it back. Now when you have a situation like this, you could just fill that in with this brush. We're going to pull out the whiz roller in a little bit, which is a very small micro roller, and it's always great to use that too because then you're going to make sure it'll reduce some of the brush application texture and it'll be a little bit more uniform to all the other rolling we're going to do with the big rollers. So I just wanted to demonstrate you could fill this in with a brush. This is a great candidate to be whiz rolled as well. So now we're going to come down here, and again, I'm just dipping it, tapping this off, not overloading my brush. Now we're going to cut right to this casing. Same thing. I don't want to be like this. Don't want to be like this. I can't see what I'm doing. I pull it down like this. Look at the sight line I am giving myself to see what I'm doing. I'm leading, I'm almost just putting a little bit of pressure on the brush. It's fanning the bristles out. And now we're just gonna come right down here. Again, I have really good room for error. I love these cut lines because we're dealing with a very light colored wall color, and we're dealing with white casing. So, you know, we're gonna be able to kind of pull this through pretty quickly. Yeah, we're coming down this window casing here, and you can see this little angle tip. How nice, you just use a little bit of pressure and you're able to really manipulate around these little jacks. See how I'm doing? I'm just putting a little bit of pressure, pulling through, pull it down, make sure we're not having any heavy edges or sags. Come back through, and now I'm low, so now I'm just gonna cut down and come through here. There's not a lot of scrutiny on the underside of this windowsill, so we're just gonna kind of come down a couple inches on that, and boom. Cut that in, and we're just gonna come around the other side here. Now what I would do is I'd move my ladder over, bring it right here. I really only probably need to make 3 ladder moves in this case. Get right on top of it and get this cut in. I'm just gonna crash this. I want to flood this out with paint. Just crash right onto it, and then it's gonna make it work. And then when we paint this baseboard, we'll cut a nice clean line onto that lip. But now, if we were painting blue or green, I would not want to crash onto the baseboard this much, because even 2 coats of white is not going to cover up a dark blue or green. You'd have to go over it like probably 3, maybe even 4 times. But you can see how quickly that went. You know, if we have outlets, you can roll up to these, but I like to just kind of, the very outer edges, I like to brush those through. And we're crashing right onto the baseboard. We're really flooding this intersection with paint. And then now, when we cut this white, we have all kinds of room for error cutting this lip and that line. But see how quick and easy that was? Cutting that baseboard. Again, if this was, say, stained wood, or was some off color or something like that, we might not be able to do it that way. But for this project, it works out perfectly. You can see how he is working right directly out of the paint can. This is an alternative method. Rather than using the handy pail, if you're trying to save money, just work right from the can. You can see how he's got his thumb underneath the handle. He's got his fingers underneath the bottom of the can to support it. They make little thumb tools that you can put here to slide, that hook onto the lid, and then you can slide your thumb through. It'll take some pressure off you. Now, Colin's used to doing this. His hands have been through some battles, so he's able to do this without too much trouble. This might really bother somebody as it puts all that pressure on there. You might not be able to do it for very long, so we'll make sure to interject a video of the thumb tool that I'm talking about. See how Colin manipulates the tip of his brush, just releases a little bit of pressure, fans it out, and is able to really manipulate those brush bristles. Just takes a little bit of getting used to, and you'll get the hang of it. See how quickly Colin just knocked out that ceiling cut. Again, he's Stretch Armstrong. But when he offloads his brush, he keeps it pretty close to the ceiling line without getting right on top of it. And he pulls it all the way down, and then he drags it right back across the top, and really is able to get that cut done down about 3 inches in 2 quick passes. Really easy to cut in corners because you just really need to flood it and get those edges painted. You don't have to worry about cutting anything in. You can see how Colin just taps his brush a little bit, clears some of the excess paint. So here's, switch it around like this. Work with this angle, bud. Might even be easier on your knees. Rather than trying to be like that, be like this. All right. So when you're doing it, definitely offload. You know, offload up here. Then cut a line like this. You want to be able to see yourself cutting that in. All right, and then you can drop back and kind of make sure you got a nice long streak. You got good hide. I really like to hold it up here on the handle, you know, while I'm angling it and cutting it. Don't want to try to be like this up here. You want to see it like this. Really play that angle. And then you can kind of slide your hand up. Once you're trying to fan out long, you can kind of slide your hand up on the handle here. But when you're really trying to cut and stay steady, you should really be, see how I got my fingers here? Kind of looks like one of your pitching grips, doesn't it?